It's Money in the Bank season, ladies and gentlemen. Who is going to partake in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match 2024 taking place in Toronto, Canada on July the 6th? I'm going to go with 3 superstars from Raw, 3 superstars from SmackDown. Last year, there was 7 men in the match. However, Logan Paul, a free agent, was one of them. And since the fact that the tease now exclusively to SmackDown, I think that this year we will go with 6 in the ladder match. So going to kick things off then with Monday Night Raw, and then we'll move things over to SmackDown. So starting with Raw, the first name going to be pulled out of the hat for me is going to be none other than main event Jey Uso, the first man to declare himself for Money in the Bank this year. Yes, there will be qualifiers, and at the time of recording, I don't know who's in the qualifying matches, and I don't know how it's going to partake. It's completely fresh on who my picks will be, but I think regardless of who Jey Uso faces in qualifying, I think Jey Uso makes it to the Money in the Bank ladder match. It makes a lot of sense for him to be in this match because, well, main event Jey Uso doesn't always win the main event matches, and I feel this could be something that could really help Jey Uso moving forward with the briefcase because he gets an opportunity at Singles Championship once again, hopefully not cost by the bloodline this time if he gets an opportunity. Also, Yeet in the Bank may not be the best catchphrase in the world, but I tell you what, it will sell merchandise. A Yeet in the Bank briefcase made by WWE will print money, and of course, well, being the show being Money in the Bank, it makes a lot of sense to me. So I think Jey Uso is a shoo-in to be involved in this match. Now, moving on to my second choice, and you can tell this is being recorded before Clash at the Castle because I think the loser of Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre is going to be in Money in the Bank. So if I had to put my neck on it right now, I think Drew McIntyre is going to be in Money in the Bank. This me give my prediction away of what I think will happen at Clash at the Castle. I think CM Punk returns, and I think that will then mean that Drew McIntyre has to find another way to win the World Heavyweight title. And of course, he would be very hypocritical of him saying that people have to cash in on him and stuff like that. In the past, it's been done to him on a number of occasions. To win Money in the Bank for him may make a lot of sense. So I think Drew McIntyre, again, someone that's been in this match before, knows the experience of doing it, and I think would be a heavy favourite as well. So I think that for me, that'll be my selection. But should Drew win the championship, then I think Damian Priest will be the one representing the Judgment Day, trying to win the briefcase for a second year in a row. Moving on to my last pick for Monday Night Raw, and yes, Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus have both declared their names for Money in the Bank. However, I do think both will lose qualifying matches, probably due to each other. So that's going to be my prediction there. But I'd like to see Ludwig Kaiser in Money in the Bank, I just want to say very quickly, because I think he's got a push on his way coming for when we get to Bash at Berlin. I think he could be in the IC title picture. However, I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Otis to be in this spot because Otis has been talking about Money in the Bank recently. The fact, of course, he did win it in 2020 in the corporate ladder match, and of course of the pandemic for those that want to relive or dread those memories. Of course, but Otis didn't keep his lunchbox. He lost it to The Miz in the end. Of course, didn't even have the opportunity to cash it in. So I think Otis is now getting back on a hot streak with the crowd. I think he'll eventually turn on Chad Gable, probably beat Chad Gable in a qualifying match. And I think that Otis finds his way into Money in the Bank. But don't worry, I don't have him winning the match. I have him just being there for those that don't want to see it happen again. But moving on to the SmackDown side, I'm going to start off with a top draft pick for SmackDown, Carmelo Hayes. Talk about showcase. He's not been on a premium live event yet since being called up from NXT. Money in the Bank for me is a perfect place to introduce Carmelo Hayes to the premium live event audience because, well, him and ladders, I mean, he's a complete wrestler anyway. He's a small dude who can jump really high. I think he would be perfect for the ladder match. He could be the ultimate high flyer in this year's ladder match. I think he could do some creative spots as well. So for me, Carmelo Hayes would be great for him because I think he's got a lot to benefit by just being in the match. For me personally, even if he doesn't get to be winning it, I think he still gains more from just being there in general. The show is going to take place in Canada. I mentioned Toronto, so we need someone from Canada in this match. So I'm going to go with Kevin Owens, a trusty set of hands when it comes to Money in the Bank. He's been in a host of them previously. I want to see KO win it. That's what I want at this particular time for those that are watching, but we'll have to see time will tell if that would happen. He's still feuding with the Bloodline. The storyline, it feels it's never going to end about 4 years later. But hey, maybe KO in the Bank could still be a thing. My last pick though from SmackDown, I want to say LA Knight. That's all I want to say because, you know, I feel that he is deserving of a spot like Money in the Bank. However, it looks like he's got his focus set for Logan Paul, and I wouldn't be surprised if LA Knight versus Logan Paul happens at Money in the Bank rather than at SummerSlam. So instead, looking for someone quite aerial, someone who can fill the spot, I'm going to go for Andrade to be a part of the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think he would be a good person for it. I think he's been in the previously. I think I remember 2019. And again, he's someone that's looking to have a breakout moment in WWE. And I think a match like this, you don't necessarily need to be a favorite going into it, but you can be a talked about performer coming out of the match. I think Andrade would be perfect to be put in Money in the Bank this year. A couple of names I've not mentioned, and one in particular I really want to mention why I've not put him in there, Bron Breakker, because, well, I think he would be amazing. For me, he would be who I would want to win out of every superstar, but I think it's the wrong thing to put him in this match. For me, Bron Breakker, it was upset and has been unhinged because he was not put in King and Queen of the Ring. So obviously, to not be in the King of the Ring tournament really upset him. He still talks about it now. So to now be told he's not going to be allowed in Money in the Bank either after taking out Ricochet and hospitalizing him, I think would be a great move from WWE storytelling, because then it only escalates Bron Breakker further to do more dastardly things, more problems with Adam Pearce, and of course these things feel more important when superstars are upset that they're not involved in them. So for me, I would keep Bron Breakker well away from Money in the Bank this year for storyline purposes. But I've made my selection of 6, so let's quickly go through those one last time. Main event, Jey Uso, the loser of the World Heavyweight Championship match at Clash at the Castle, so either Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest, but I'm assuming Drew McIntyre, I've had to guess right now. Otis will be completing the Raw side, and from SmackDown, I have Carmelo Hayes, Kevin Owens, and Andrade. Who do you think will be in Money in the Bank this year for the men? Let me know in the comments below right now. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. And if you want to see more videos in the meantime, then check out the side of the screen right now, including who will be in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match for this year.